107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowances made for fair use. Copyright disclaimer. Under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976, allowances made for fair use, for purpose such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statutes that might otherwise be infringing. Non-profit, educational, or personal use tips in the balance of the favor of fair use. Furthermore, I give credit to the original copyright owner. I don't own the rights, or no infringement is intended to the material that has been added to this original content.
Welcome to Blended Healing. I love you. No, wait a minute. No, I'm infatuated by you. No, are you gonna leave? So on episode 2, we're gonna talk about infatuation and this new buzzword called anxiety attachment. So, do they really love you? Is the question. So all the questions I asked you in episode 1 weren't for me. They were for you. And if you're not receiving the things that we were talking about in episode 1, why? Why? And what can you do better to improve that relationship with your partner or a potential or a person of interest, as I would like to call them? So what can you do? So today we're going to be talking about infatuation versus love. Are you infatuated or are you truly in love? Ashe, we're going to deep dive into that today. What are the differences between love versus infatuation? So, ignoring relationship red flags and fantasizing about the perfect life with someone you just met may be signs of infatuation versus love. That being swept off your feet or head over heels for someone new, despite not knowing them very well, is often referred to as infatuation. What is infatuation? Infatuation is also a deep sense of connection, mainly based on the ideal of someone else. It can feel intense. It could feel passionate. It can feel beyond reason. And many may refer to it as love at first sight. But let me tell you that love, on the other hand, may be less oblivious to another's person's shortcomings or incompatibilities. It exists despite those. Love also looks to celebrate differences and build a connection that allows both people to thrive as individuals. It may require intentional work and effort from each partner to come together in disagreement to work toward a mutual goal. Love is a choice. It's a choice. Infatuation is living in the fantasy part and mirroring and expecting people to be this person that you want that you created in spite of the red flags that you may see. Because when people show you who they are, believe them the first time. The difference between infatuation versus love, it's often one of assumption versus reality. So with infatuation, there's usually a connection. You usually have at least one thing in common, right? But the high it creates for someone is based usually on a fantasy that is created about the person, an ideal version of them. That's what the difference is. You idealize what this person should be and what they mean, in your life. Some of the things that you would see would be perfection versus individuality. Infatuation can lead you to see someone as flawless or ideal despite the evidence of the differences. Love, on the other hand, has identified and acknowledged differences as individuality, accepting the partner as a whole. Infatuation might make you put a positive spin on undesirable characteristics instead of accepting them, right? Whereas love will be empathetic, it will be kind and looking to problem solve challenges without that denial that they exist. So with this infatuation thing, right? You're looking at the photos, the videos of them, right? You may even be looking at them straight on in real life in this 3D world, and they could be flossed out, glazed up. You know what I mean? Tim's Yankee hat, you know, all together. And then you got the chicks with the lashes, with the long hair, with the wigs and the weaves, and all ass and chest and everything. And you looking at that, and you're thinking that you could make these people a housewife or a house husband or somebody that you would like to be in a relationship without even exploring or knowing anything about them. So what you do is that you created this fantasy in your head that this person is like, oh my God, oh my God. I'm like, oh man, really? I mean, don't get it twisted. A lot of us do that. A lot of us has been through that until you start really seeing the flags. And if you're paying attention to the flags, you'd be like, yeah, nah. But know that in infatuation, in extreme situations, it may lure you into an abusive relationship by blinding you to important red flags. Y'all need to get it together and realize, is it love or is it infatuation? What do you consider? Sometimes the feelings of infatuation are very similar to getting high. It's like being high because there's a heightened arousal, there's excessive laughter, there's anticipation, and there's longing. And this could lead you to engage in behaviors that may not be safe for you or others. Love can also involve feelings of excitement about being with the other person. However, love typically allows for you to feel content in your relationship, free of constant craving for that other person or the anxiety that it may cause you, the uncertainty of their feelings. What about assumptions versus intimacy? You don't know the individual that well, you know what I mean? You don't know them. So most of what you know about the person is superficial. Either it's on their looks or how they behave in a group. But love involves a sense of real intimacy, knowing things about your person other people aren't privy to, witnessing vulnerability and emotional need, and being trusted with potentially hurtful information. Planning the future versus future planning. It's common for people to experience infatuation, to fantasize about the ideal future they may have or could have with the other person, right? And these fantasies involve vacations, or they'll go on, or children that they'll have together, or achievements that they'll receive together, all without input from the other damn person. How you gonna create? How you gonna create? I'm gonna leave that. Infatuation may even lead you to believe the other person is in love with you without that being the case. Love. Love may take a more practical approach for the future. Couples in love often discuss career, marriage, and children goals together after feelings in the relationship have been proven stable. Is infatuation the first stage of love? When we come back, we're going to talk about that. Is it the first stage of love? I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't know. But we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it. So let's dig deeper into this infatuation. Can infatuation lead to love? Can it? What is the differences? Is infatuation like the first stage of love? I don't know. Because infatuation can be the first stage of love, but not everyone experiences infatuation. So there's a split of what people think, but not everyone is going to be built for it. You feel me? You can meet someone wonderful without that love at first sight rush. Infatuation can turn into love, but only if you're willing to let go of the perfect fantasy and overcome any disappointment that it brings. Let me say that again to you. Infatuation can turn into love, but you have to be willing to let go of that damn fantasy of what you think this person is, right? And really look at the authentic person, flags and all, flaws and all, and overcome that disappointment when it does come. Infatuation is selfish because it makes you feel good to fantasize about the individual, but in truth, it's not likely they aren't as perfect as you believe them to be. It can develop into love if you're willing to compromise, to give and to work things out with the person that you're fascinated with. In other words, you may need to be disillusioned first in order to truly fall in love. Can a relationship survive on infatuation alone? Long term, right? Commitments don't usually survive on infatuation alone. But you can experience infatuation for years, depending upon the circumstances. Usually, Infatuation lasts between 18 months and 3 years, right? Unless it's a long distance relationship or an extremely insecure individual that is fascinated by the infatuation and it really doesn't last that much longer. Whatever remains of that infatuation may help strengthen a relationship. However, through a continued process of maximizing your partner's strengths over their weaknesses, you can maintain a sense of joy and excitement that isn't ruled by fantasy. So, all in all, right? Infatuation, beloved, is often a fantasy based, passionate longing for someone else. It prevents you from acknowledging their weaknesses and may even land you into an unhealthy situation. Love is often based in reality and is fed on closeness and knowledge of the other person. You respect your person of interest or your partner's differences because you can then enjoy true intimacy, and work together as a team. While infatuation can lead to love, it may require you to let go of the fantasy and embrace the differences, the shortcomings, and the individuality. So now that we have covered infatuation, let us get into the other portion of the segment that's about this new buzzword of anxious attachment. All right? Anxiety attachment, the way that people are feeling because they think that you're going to leave them. Why would these people start feeling like that? You know what I mean? They're always looking for the other shoe to drop, and they need confirmation from you that you're not going to leave. Ashe, Ashe. When it comes to anxious attachment, right? In a relationship, it can be difficult to understand and to manage it. However, awareness of how this attachment style develops and plays out in a relationship can help anxious attachers and their person of interest or their partners reach more healthy and a secure relationship. And an anxious attachment style in a relationship can be challenging to manage, whereas anxious attachers are sensitive and they are really attuned to their partner or person of interest needs. They also typically require constant reassurance and affection to feel safe as part of a romantic couple. If validation isn't provided in the way an anxious attacher requires, they feel worried and stressed out about their relationships. People with the anxious attachment style often internalize what they perceive to be a lack of affection and intimacy as not being worthy of love, and they intensely fear rejection as a result. In an attempt to avoid abandonment, an anxious attacher may become clingy and and jealous and all of that stuff, watching closely, you know what I mean? In a relationship. They often are overwhelmed by the fear of being alone. So they do whatever they can within their power to hold on to their relationship. Someone with an anxious attachment style sees their partner as the remedy to their strong emotional needs. Ashe, Ashe. Do any of you fall into that category? I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of emotions when it comes down to stuff, you know? A lot of emotions. When it comes to relationships and how you interact and all of that. But I'm not going to hold you. So when I come back on episode 3, we're going to talk about that. We're going to deep dive more into this anxious attachment. I want you all to have a wonderful day or evening whenever you're viewing this. Please make sure that you subscribe to the channel on our road to 500. Make sure that you subscribe to all of these great content creators. HPTR Latrice. Make sure that you subscribe to Goddess D of Love in the Love Palace, 818, and Loco Vision, and Brenda Clark. See if you can. Oh, Transparent Talk, and my Memphis family, Miss Parker, Lady K, Kershawn Wolf Corleone, and all of those that I have missed. Please make sure that you subscribe to my Memphis family. Today is going to be the lookalike contest in the Memphis sector. So I ask you to please come out and support that great endeavor by Transparent Talk. And make sure that you donate towards the cash prize. It's going to be a really fun event, okay? And that will be today. Coming up in the near future on June 20th would be Brenda Clark's high heel contest. So make sure that you subscribe and go over there and watch that contest. Ashe, Ashe. My store, my online store will be grand opening, re-grand opening sometime, hopefully in the near future between this month and next month. So please make sure that you stay around for those alerts to see if and when, not if, but when the shop opens. Ashe and deep bow to each and every one of you. We're going to play music on our way out of here, and then I will see you on the next installment of I Love You. No, I think I'm infatuated. Are you going to leave? Our next installment. Be well, stay safe. Talk to you.